My function as the President of the Council, and I will now give the floor to the representative of Yemen.
سعادة السفيرة نيكي هيلي المندوب الدائم للولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
Madam Ambassador Nikki Haley, Permanent Representative of the United States at the United Nations, President of the Security Council, Mr. Martin Griffith, Special Envoy of the Secretary General in Yemen, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Council. I would like to first of all congratulate you, Madam Ambassador, for taking up the presidency of the Council this month. We wish you every possible success. We also thank you for this opportunity to address the Council. And this sad day, as we commemorate our commemoration for the American people, we would like to express our condolences to the families of the victims of the attacks of the 11th of September, 2001. I would also like to congratulate the Ambassador of Great Britain for the successful presidency of the Council last month. Ladies and gentlemen, the delegation of Yemen went to the Geneva consultations in good faith at the date and place indicated, bringing with them the hopes and pain of the Yemeni people and in the hope of concrete progress to improve their lives. As soon as Martin Griffith invited us to these consultations, His Excellency President Mansour Hadi was committed to ensuring that they were a success. He was in constant coordination with our team in order to revive hopes for much longed for peace. The government of Yemen has demonstrated and will continue to demonstrate our full support for the Special Envoy, and we commend his efforts to ensure progress of the peace process and his sincere efforts to bring together the members of the government and the parties that were involved in the overthrow. And we will be involved in all efforts aimed at restoring peace and putting an end to this coup d'etat. Your August Assembly supervised with great attention this process. In the press communiqué on the eve of the negotiations, the Council reiterated its invitation to a full implementation of the resolutions of the Council, in particular Resolution 2216. The Council also called on the parties to take advantage of this opportunity to ease tensions and to participate fully and in good faith to take the first step and put an end to this conflict which has caused so much suffering. The Houthis, on their side, and in their well-known irresponsibility, didn't come to the conference. In fact, this is how they exploit in the international efforts of the international community, with a great deal of arrogance. And this militia, in fact, have an erroneous interpretation of certain reports issued by certain organizations. I want to recall our letter to this council dated 24th of August, just a few days before the start of these negotiations, regarding the meeting between the president of putschists with Hassan Nasrallah. We said that this would no doubt have a negative impact on the consultations and would demonstrate to what extent the Houthis have links with Iran and their proxies. In fact, they are trying to establish an Iranian model in Yemen, and the Yemeni people and its leadership will never accept that. The delegation of my country, before we went to Geneva, stated that it was necessary to focus on confidence-building measures agreed during the peace negotiations in 2015. Also, by attaching particular attention to the humanitarian aspects, including the release of prisoners, humanitarian access, making sure that there's no hindrance to this access. Also, it was necessary to focus on measures that would strengthen the capacity of the Yemeni Central Bank to ease the suffering of the Yemeni people and to be able to pay salaries. In fact, the government was made efforts and worked with the Office of the Special Envoy on all these points. Madam President, Houthis have tried to impose preconditions to condition their participation at all stages of peace negotiations. They have tried to undermine the efforts of the Special Envoy by creating a crisis. In spite of all the logistical support provided by the Office of the Special Envoy, as well as from the Alliance for the Reestablishment of Legitimacy in Yemen. And the alliance, by the way, showed a great deal of restraint. The missiles against us. In spite of that, the missiles against Saudi Arabia and other targets have continued. It is regrettable that certain words are used to justify this kind of behavior, which is in fact a challenge to the international community. Not to describe what is happening accurately is not going to help resolve this crisis. What happened, in fact, was not a conflict between parties to a conflict, as some have described. It's a coup. It's an overthrow against a constitutionally legitimate government elected by an overwhelming majority of Yemenis after an important national dialogue. It is a coup d'etat conducted by an ideological armed group that has nothing but arrogance and disdain for Yemenis and believes that they have a God-given right to govern. Starting from the first day of the coup d'etat, this group has not only tried to overthrow the government and the whole state, they have tried to undermine the very foundations of our country, to change its characteristics. It has implemented an ideologically driven sectarian program to change the common denominator that unites the Yemenis, and also to change and destroy the social tissue of Yemen and its national pillars. Madam President, on behalf of the government of my country, on behalf of the pain of the mothers who have lost their children, and on behalf, in the name of the children who have died, and the prisoners, the detainees, I invite the United Nations and the Security Council to assume the direct responsibility and to implement the resolutions of this body. It is essential to force this group to respect the will of the Yemeni people in order to achieve a lasting peace based on the three references: the Gulf Initiative, its implementation mechanism, the outcome of the national dialogue, and the resolutions of the Security Council, in particular 2216. Ladies and gentlemen, we are celebrating this month the anniversary of the revolution of the 26th of September, which the Yemenis supported to put an end to confessionalism. And this rebel group, is trying to revive that. And I can assure you that the revolution of September and October, as well as their ultimate goals that were written with the blood of martyrs, will remain valid. Before concluding, ladies and gentlemen, I want to show you this picture, which is, I think, more eloquent than 1,000 words. This photo is child Abdel Rahman Abtan. This is a Yemeni child. He's 10 years old. He died 2 days ago. He was shot in the head. His football, he was playing with, touched the foot of a Houthi leader, just by mistake. That leader simply took out his pistol and shot the child in the head. And this child is the son of one of the professors in the Sana University. How long will the suffering of the children and women continue, inflicted by a group of rebels and putschis who are trying to impose the law of the jungle? Until how long? Thank you.